So Joe Biden is unleashed. We saw Hunter Biden unleashed. Now Joe Biden is unleashed. And he sounds coherent to me. He's got the best case of Alzheimer's I've ever seen. And Donald Trump probably has one of the worst. Kamala Harris is also out. The old ticket is out, and they're fighting. They're fighting hard. They're getting loud. They're mad. They're pissed. Now, this is amazing because Fox News, when Kamala Harris is going to be on Stephen Colbert, Fox News tried to do like this gotcha thing where they're like going to ask the audience, "Do you guess who the guest is today?" And they're like, I don't know. And then look at what happened.
Jon Stewart.
Huge guest tonight. You excited?
I have no idea who it is.
Kamala Harris.
Get out! Get out!
Look at his face. He's like, fuck, I just fucked this up. He's like, oh God, this makes her look good.
Get out! Kamala!
Love that. Love that. And they were excited. Now, Kamala Harris, I'm not sure if you've seen this. I'm just going to play a few clips from this. But here's what she said about, first off, here is Stephen Colbert describing her debate with Trump.
One of the greatest. That was one of the greatest rhetorical performances I've ever seen. You smoked him like a ham. I just want to remind everybody, you warned everyone about the future under our present president. You said he would prosecute his political enemies. He would cut Medicaid, Medicare. He would ignore court orders. He would alienate our allies. He would give massive tax cuts to the rich. And I know you're not here to say, I told you so. But would you like to?
She didn't say I told you so, but she did say this after he asked that question.
But let me just say this. You are correct that I did predict a lot of it. But Stephen, what I did not predict was the capitulation. I didn't predict that.
People would roll over for this president.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming. And perhaps it's naive of me, someone who has seen a lot that most people haven't seen, but I believed that on some level, you know, there should be many who consider themselves to be guardians of our system and our democracy who just capitulated. And I didn't see that coming.
Do you think...
What's interesting about that is, listen, this is strategic. This is all very strategic. Where's Kamala Harris saying that? Talking about capitulation on the Stephen Colbert show. Who owns the Stephen Colbert show? CBS. Paramount. They just tried merging together to this stupid name called Skydance. And what did they do? They fired Stephen Colbert. They settled with 60 Minutes, which was a CBS one of the longest running news programs in the country. And they settled a $16 million bogus lawsuit. Capitulation. She's smart. She knows what she's doing. So she goes on the show that is being canceled, that's run by the people who are actually capitulating to Trump to say that. And I love that. Now, I'm just going to show you this meme. Too Raw, Too Real on Twitter posted this saying, VP Kamala Harris said, don't fall for the lies. Here's America. They fell for the lies. You get it. All right, so let's watch Joe Biden, because Joe Biden, as I said, he's awake, he's mad, and he's out there speaking. Here's what he had to say.
I've appointed judges doing their best to be independent, fair, impartial, respecting the rule of law, and upholding the Constitution. I wish I could say the same for the executive branch, who seems doing his best to dismantle the Constitution. Oh, I'm being deadly earnest, man. Which seems to be what's going on. You know, and they're doing it all too often with the help of a Congress that's just sitting in the sidelines and enabled by the highest court in the nation. The rulings they've made, my God. Folks, in our lives, in the life of our nation, there are moments so stark that they divide all that came before from everything that followed. Moments that force us to confront hard truths about ourselves, our institutions, and democracy itself. We are, in my view, at such a moment in American history. Reflected in every cruel executive outreach, every rollback of basic freedoms, every erosion of long-standing established precedent. We see in the laws, the law firms bowing to pressure, bending to bullies, instead of staying rooted in justice and the law, including some of the largest newspapers in America. We see in the apparent glee some of our politicians express that's while watching immigrants who are in this country legally, torn from the arms of their family, dragged away in handcuffs from the only home they've ever known. My friends, we need to face the hard truth of this administration. It has been to ease all the gains we've made in my administration, to erase history rather than make it, to erase fairness, equality, to erase justice itself. And that's not hyperbole, that's a fact. Look, folks, we can't sugarcoat this. These are dark days, but you're all here for the same reason. I left that prestigious law firm in the public defender's office to go to the defender's office years ago. It's because our future is literally on the line.
Yeah, so Joe Biden's right. I mean, American history, I hope, remembers this moment. The thing is that America tends to always win. The good guys tend to always win. So we like to say this thing of like, history is going to remember this. Well, history is actually written by the winners. Do you think, God forbid, to take it to an extreme, if Hitler would have won, do you think Hitler would have written the history that they were the bad guys? Of course not. They would have been the good guys. We would have been the bad guys. We would have been taught in schools about how we were an evil that needed to be defeated. So there is no guarantee that this moment will be reflected on accurately. And when we have a president who is firing people who report accurately on the job numbers and who is trying to do everything he can to control the flow of information, it's never a guarantee that the way that what's happening now is going to be accurately recorded and reflected upon in the future. That's why independent media is so important right now, because we have the opportunity and the ability to say the things that CNN, CBS, and all the rest of them are unable or unwilling or not wanting to say. And I'm just going to end with this because Donald Trump could not keep up, could not stay awake. It's so funny. We saw Joe Biden fully awake. Donald Trump could barely keep his eyes open, but he's the one that's with it. Give me a break. And I'm going to have the editor add sleepy time music. So I hope you watch it. Thank you for your support, for being here, liking the video, subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Fraud war room using this kind of technology, because we'll know who you are and who your doctor is. We can block this. We're going to have remarkable advances in how consumers can use their own records. We'll have beneficiaries be able to get MAHA advice and prevention tips and even be able to nudge them and reward them perhaps for that. And all this comes back to one fundamental issue, Mr. President, which is leadership. I think 60 people, the biggest, the best, the willing, came forward because of your leadership, because you weren't going to take no for an answer, and they know it.